You have a new book out, which I want to talk about, Letter to the American Church.
Letter to the American Church I wrote specifically for people who call themselves Christians, because there are people out there who are convinced that their Christian faith means they should not be political. What that really means is that they should not be political along the lines of, MAGA, America loving. This idea has infiltrated the church. It is just monstrous. There are people going along with things where the pastors are being utterly silent. And I wrote the book to try to reach those pastors that are being silent, to try to reach those Christians that are going to those churches or that are theologically confused as though this is the Christian thing to do. This is not the Christian thing to do. This is the evil thing to do. This is what happened in Germany. The church was persuaded to be silent, and people went along with it. Bonhoeffer did what he could. We're just going to go Romans 13. We're not going to mention this stuff. We know what happened in Germany. And my thesis is that it is precisely what is happening in America today because of the silence of the church. And I'm here to say, ladies and gentlemen, this happened precisely as it is happening now in Germany. I'm not exaggerating the parallel. I believe that there are some who can be reached. I think there are some who couldn't care less. There are other people writing books saying exactly the opposite. It's a misunderstanding of what faith is. It's a misunderstanding of what Romans 13 says. I hate to say it, without any question, this is the most important book I've ever written. I just turned to the page in my new book, Letter to the American Church, where Bonhoeffer himself, he was calling out the German church, and he saw that they had these theological reasons for saying nothing while the world is going to hell, while Jews are being rounded up. And they said, well, sort of not my problem. I'm just going to go into my church and worship my God and preach my weak little gospel. What happened is so dramatically similar because Germany was a Christian nation. They had the power. They refused to use it. This is not really complicated. In other words, there is no doubt that when we see evil, we in the church are obliged by God to speak against it, to work against it, to do what we can. And I think to myself, there's nothing new under the sun. We have cultural Marxism infiltrating our schools, infiltrating the culture. If the church of Jesus Christ doesn't speak against these evils, God will judge us. We don't get off the hook. He doesn't say, well, you were a nice religious person. He condemns us. But a lot of white evangelicals say, well, who am I to even talk about that? What do I know? Because truth is truth, and because it will bless those people, not because it will hurt those people, it will bless those people. So if you're going to a church that shrinks from talking about these things, first of all, I would say consider finding another church. But if your pastor is reasonable, I've written this book for reasonable people, that they would read it and say, you know what? I didn't know that. I've never heard that, because they're hearing the blather that you're getting from places like Christianity Today or whatever it is, which is frankly deceiving millions. The silence of the American church is the reason we are where we are in America today. I say this as a Christian. I lay the blame of where we are in this nation at the foot of the church in America. If the church were vocal on these issues and brave and understood our duty to speak truth and to be a voice for the voiceless and to be the conscience of the nation, if we lived that out fearlessly as God commands us to do, this is not a party issue. This is an issue of what is right, what is true. And if you say, oh, they're all corrupt, when you start playing that game, you're playing into the enemy's hands. You say, you know what? Why should I fight? It's all corrupt. It's all over. We're being judged. Who cares? Bonhoeffer was willing to fight to the end. He went to his death, knowing that, first of all, as an actual Christian, he knew something that Christians are supposed to know. He knew that Jesus had defeated death. That's not a nice idea. It's not a fairy tale. And if you believe that, you don't fear death, and you fight for what is right and true. And the fact of the matter is that if that's all people need to do, if that's all evil needs to do, is to get you to say, oh, my goodness, I don't want to sound like I'm for one political party. If one political party is for the butchering of children, if one political party has opened the door to godless cultural Marxism and to transgender and to bringing incredibly perverse ideas to little children in school, if you don't have the guts to speak against this, it is obvious you don't believe what you say you believe as a Christian. You can say things that are true in a spirit of falsehood. We are supposed to be a voice for the voiceless. We're supposed to speak the truth. Those who've dared to do that have seen their numbers explode. And you want to talk about evangelism? People are finding faith in those churches.
Yeah, they're finding faith in amazing and record numbers. The book is The Letter to the American Church. Talk to you soon, Eric. God bless.